Our region's business is sponsored by PNC for the achiever in you.
Trade's a big topic of conversation here in Washington this fall. China's president is planning to visit around the end of the month, and business lobbyists are also here urging reauthorization of the Export-Import Bank. It's a bigger issue for our region than you might think. That's because some of our biggest employers are also big exporters, and they rely on the bank to level the playing field with foreign competition. And right now, the EXIM Bank is pretty much out of business. And we're back with Matt Smith, president of the Greater Pittsburgh Chamber of Commerce here in D.C. And you know, export's really important to the re-engineering of our economy in Pittsburgh.
It's critically important, and one of the most important issues we're down here in Washington, D.C. advocating for is the renewal of the Export-Import Bank, which essentially serves to level the playing field for American companies who are competing with international companies for business. And many of our large businesses in Western Pennsylvania, think of Westinghouse, a PPG. The Export-Import Bank is of critical importance to not only them, but to their customers as well, who have the need to finance these large-scale, robust projects. And they're competing against foreign competitors who have the ability to finance these projects through their country's bank. And in many cases, they're the ultimate backstop for those particular companies. We need to make sure that we're providing the assistance to American companies in the same way.
A number of big companies in our region have made exactly the same point. Let's hear what one of them had to say. How important is federal export policy to be able to build on the foundation that's been laid here?
Yeah, I think, Bill, it's incredibly important. And the foundation, as you stated, was built on several years ago on the deployment of our AP 1000 internationally and domestically. One of the key components for us internationally is EXIM financing. So it gives us a level playing field with state-owned utilities in the international markets. And with that, it creates an opportunity not only for our sub-suppliers and major suppliers to do work, because we employ, like for the AP 1000, we employ folks in over 20 states on our current projects. So our desire is, as we expand into other markets and other countries, that there'll be more and more economic growth, not only just in the Pennsylvania area and this facility, which was the precedent for it, it will create growth in the entire map of the United States. I think our outreach and our expansion capability with our AP 1000 product, which we think is technology-wise the superior product, has an incredible reach. And we are concerned that that reach could be slowed or dramatically curtailed by the EXIM issue that's going on right now in Washington.
Well, you mentioned it, big companies, Westinghouse, PPG, and others say this is a really important issue, yet the opponents say this is some kind of corporate welfare. Why should the taxpayers be supporting this kind of lending activity?
Yeah, and that's a point we've heard made frequently. The reply to that is that it's a mechanism by which the federal government makes millions of dollars, and it's a net, far and away a net positive to taxpayers. And in many cases, these are projects that are financed only with Export-Import Bank financing. And taxpayers are the net recipients, not only in terms of the revenue that it generates and the money that the Export-Import Bank spins off that goes back into the general fund for the federal government, but also winners in the way that it creates economic development, creates jobs in regions where these investments are so very vital. Western Pennsylvania is right at the forefront of that critical investment that the Export-Import Bank provides.
Yeah, we had a chance to talk with Congressman Tim Murphy about the bank and the renewal a little while ago, and yeah, he said it is about jobs. Let's hear him.
People are under the impression that the taxpayers are funding these loans and losing money. And the fact is that's not the case. It is actually a way of helping for banks to have a foreign country or foreign business to borrow the money, and then they use that to buy the goods and services from the United States, and then they have to repay that loan. I think a default rate is perhaps 1%. It is not used taxpayers' money. It's self-funded. And it does generate a lot of jobs around here. It is important for a lot of jobs in southwestern Pennsylvania and the nation.
I really don't understand this debate. This is a revolving loan fund that actually makes money. We loan businesses low interest loans to help bolster their companies and help them export their products. It creates jobs here in America, and it makes our businesses competitive. Other countries are doing the exact same thing. So we're competing with other countries that are doing the same thing for their businesses.
So the bigger question is, the EXIM Bank has already expired. What are the chances that it's actually going to be renewed and get back into business?
Well, we think the chances are very positive, and we're looking for a way to make sure that we can advocate face-to-face with our members, with our delegation, to let them know how important this issue is to the business community. The feedback we've received so far has been very positive. We don't really care what mechanism is used to pass renewal of export-import.
Whether it's tied to the transportation bill or something else.
It may be attached to something else, it may not. We just feel like Export-Import Bank renewal is such an important issue. It really stands alone in importance. So we feel whatever mechanism is used to get this done is certainly appropriate. We want to see it get done, and we're not necessarily tying it to any specific issue. We think it's important enough for it to stand on its own.
All right, Matt Smith, President of the Greater Pittsburgh Chamber of Commerce. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And we'll be back in a minute from Washington, D.C. with a little dollars and cents. Stay with us.